Okay, so I was just thinking, like, what would it take? You know what? First off, Endgame is the biggest movie of all time, which that's just. I mean, look at these numbers right here. That's insane. Like 2.7 billion. It's the biggest of all time. That's like such a moment. Like we're never gonna have this moment again. You know? That's so weird. But anyways, I was trying to think like, Endgame's like the biggest movie of all time. How could Marvel outdo themselves? And I had this idea of like, what would it take to, for me to say like this is the biggest Marvel film of all time. You can never do better than this ever. That's it. That's the end. And I think like the biggest Marvel film of all time you could plausibly make. The only way you could get bigger than Endgame, I think, is if you had a film that had, and that substantially consisted of Fantastic Four, X-Men, and like some new version of the Avengers. If there was a movie with all three of those groups in there trying to stop, like this one main central threat, like some kind of version of Thanos, not Thanos, but some kind of Thanos-esque character, like Galactus, like what we were talking about. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if there is ever a movie with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and X-Men in the same goddamn film, I think my fucking head would explode, I don't know. I don't even know. Me and Don were just talking about, like, what it would look like if there was, like, a trailer for something like that. And, like,
I'll tell you what the trailer would have to do to buzz my mind. Have Wolverine in space, somehow escaping from Galactus' ship or some shit. He's running off of Galactus' arm, jumps off the fingertip, and his skin is, like, frozen. Then the Silver Surfer catches him, flies down to Earth and lands in front of, like, I guess, like in that wedding scene, lands right there, right in the middle, and they're just like, boom, and then the Marvel studio pops up. You hear that little noise. You might hear.
Did you just say Wolverine running down like Galactus's arm?
Yep, because he got out somehow. He's like,
that would be the hardest fucking thing ever.
Then Silver Surfer comes and catches him, flies him back down to Earth with him in his arms. His body's like frozen and like the skin's ripped off, but then he starts to like heal slowly. Then he's like looking up. All the other heroes are looking at him. He says some shit like, he's probably like, they're coming. Boom, and it goes
what the fuck?
Studios.
You should Google like Marvel's strongest villains real quick.
That's what's gonna happen.
Because I don't know what's the strongest like most OG villains in Marvel now off the top of my head anyway.
Have to have more than one villain. What if the villains were in conflict with each other, whilst the heroes have to.
There was a fuck. I'm being serious, y'all. I'm being serious. If there was a fucking movie with all those heroes in it, I don't know. I think that would have to be the biggest Marvel film of all time, right? You couldn't even do no. You know what? I think I would literally stop watching Marvel movies as frequently, or just stop watching them altogether if they had like event films or a film like that, because there's no way you do better than that. Because I can tell there's a lot of people who are going to be like, how could you ever do better than Endgame? But like you can. I mean, it would be very, very difficult in real life. I mean, in the comic book world, shit, we can do this all day.
10 years from now, they can.
In the movie world, very difficult to make a movie this big. The fuck, and people like it.
They're going to be having non-stop cut scenes. Going from space to Earth. like it ain't nothing.
Don, what you just pitched was just incredible right there.
That should be one little thing.
I love videos like this, like these wonders. You know what I mean?
We haven't seen nothing like that yet.
Something that big, that scale? No, we haven't. Sometimes I get into debates with people. And they're like, well, Jor-El, what do you mean it wasn't epic enough? You're fucking being fucking dick or whatever. It's like, no, man, like, I don't know, maybe I have a more active imagination than you do, because for me, like, I think the scale can always be raised higher. You know what I'm saying? And I think a film on the scale of having Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Avengers in the same film fighting the same threat, and they're all substantially being used in the narrative. I think a film that size is like unheard of. That would be like, I don't even know. The only way you can make a superhero film bigger than that is if you had a great cinematic version of Crisis on Infinite Earths, 1984 or the 80s, or whatever year that came out. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way you can have something like bigger or scales bigger than Endgame in the movie world.
They gotta wrap up their whole shit.
It's the only way. You would almost need like 500 mil just for like each movie that this many heroes were in. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fuck?
They did Crisis correctly and respectfully.
I know CW is about to... God, why are they doing anything with Crisis? You know, at first, I will admit, when CW was like, they're going to do Crisis, I was like, yeah. But now that I thought about it, I'm like, oh, no. But,
yeah, at first it was funny, now it's just like, damn.
But before this video gets too long, I mean, I just wanted you guys to wrap your minds around that, because that's been mind-fucking me, thinking about a Marvel movie that big, because, that's the, I'm not trying to, like, be egotistical or anything, but, like, that's, when I'm thinking of stories, like, it's usually on that kind of scale, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm thinking of something on the big scale, it's usually, like, that fucking big, like, it's huge,
Yeah.
Like the MCU movies, they've always felt really grounded, which does work to their benefit, obviously. So I love the MCU movies. However, I do wish that there was like a scale that was like, you almost didn't feel the budget anymore. You were just like, yo, this is like the comic books. You know what I mean? And the closest we've ever gotten to that is with Infinity War and Endgame, for sure. The biggest, greatest superhero films I could think of. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think, man, goddamn, if there's a movie like that, there would have to almost be no dialogue in the trailers, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Just have to be.
There would be no time.
Just all this crazy shit though.
Like they would all have to literally be like 3 minutes each, right? Like fuck. Shit. Remember the trailer to Cloud Atlas? I think it was like 5 minutes. You guys remember that shit? But it would have to be like that, literally.
Yep, on a Marvel scale.
Each movie with that many characters, like it would have to like for real be a 5-minute trailer each time. But yeah, thoughts on all this? We're just nerding out here. You know what I'm saying?
Man, just imagine.
No big deal.